Hello and welcome to the Metalheads podcast. My name is George.
My name is Will.
And this is John.
And Jay is not joining us this week. He could not be here, so he sends his regards, and he will be here next time. But we are joined by Albert Mudrian of Decibel Magazine, the editor-in-chief himself. How you doing, Albert?
I'm doing well, guys. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thanks. It's a long time coming.
Yeah. So we just it's actually been almost a month now, but we just got back a month ago from the Decibel Metal and Beer Fest in Philadelphia. So now that the dust has settled, how are you feeling about the first Decibel Metal and Beer Fest?
First and last Decibel Metal and Beer Fest?
Whoa.
No, we're feeling great, honestly. For year one, we're all really happy with the way things went. Obviously, for a first-year festival, there's a lot of challenges, but I felt like we kind of overcame a lot of the logistical hurdles just to even get the event off the ground. And I felt like the feedback that I got from the fans, the bands, the brewers, the vendors, the venue itself, everything seemed overwhelmingly positive. So for me, I'm excited to, take that momentum and build the event into something even bigger and better for next year. But we're already underway with kind of building it out. We have dates set for 2018 for it. It'll be at the Fillmore again in Philadelphia.
Excellent.
That's a definite good thing to hear.
Yeah, it's a tremendous room. It's tremendous. It's huge. It's great. But no, it's fantastic place, staffed by great people, and they totally get what we want to do. And I think that was pretty evident, probably for you guys there who you attended it, you saw the vibe, and Will, you worked it, so you had a sense of how the staff operated there, and it was everything fit. Honestly, it was. I was pleasantly surprised at the small amount of speed bumps we incurred in year one. So I don't want to test. I don't want to test my luck too much with year two, because I'm sure there'll be many more exciting headaches to follow. But no, we're really satisfied, really happy with it. But we think we could do bigger and better things next year.
Speaking of the speed bumps, were there any surprises you hadn't anticipated, or any lessons learned from this first time?
Get better plastic cups.
That's right.
I can honestly say, and I was going to bring it up. We talked ad nauseum between the three of us and on the podcast, and the only thing we could remotely try and complain about was those shitty plastic cups.
Yeah.
And the thing is, like, everyone just they took it and just threw it away, and at the end of half the day, people were disposing of them. Now we have no more cups. Yeah.
I mean, the way I look at it is, if you fuck up something, it might as well be something that's easily correctable like that.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, and that's the whole point, is that if it's such a minor thing, if that's the only thing that I've heard anyone complain about, hey, you guys did a great job.
Thank you. Yeah, no, I mean, it's funny. It's one of those things. We've obviously never executed a beer fest before, so I guess we weren't thinking oh yeah, we need plastic cups that are of a better quality, or maybe we need to invest in actual glasses next year.
Well, to be honest, you guys were running really two festivals here. It was a beer fest and it was also a metal fest. So I think if that's the only thing that happened, or one of the only things, you did a pretty good job on the first go around.
Well, thank you. Yeah. No. I think that there's things that we can tweak and make better, a better experience for the people who, just the general audience that's attending. The people who are there for the beer, the people who are there for the metal, people who are there for both. A better experience for the vendors. But again, it seemed like, the feedback was shockingly positive. I mean, I've been running the magazine 13 years, and for 13 years we have obviously produced a lot of products and put together a lot of events. and I'm assuming that for the most part people like them because it allows us to continue to do what we do. And I get feedback here and there on things that we do and stuff that we make, but I've never had the response to something like this, where it was just like random people just kind of stopping me there, expressing their excitement for it. People just days and days and days and days afterwards emailing me or calling me just to tell me what a great time they had. And I mean, it was wonderfully surprising, honestly. I knew that we had something, we were going to do something good, but people's reaction to it was pretty overwhelming, to be honest.
So does this mean that Alex just got a really big raise?
It means that she probably should have one. Yeah.
Yeah.
It means I can pile even more work on her next year if we handle all of that.
Oh yeah, you can do everything.
Yeah, I told her the motto is don't get too good at anything you don't want to do.
Yeah. I recall seeing you like pretty much running around everywhere the whole time. Did you get a chance to enjoy much of the festival yourself?
Not as much as I would have liked. I mean, I carved out time to see certain things, I saw. I regret not seeing more of Panopticon, honestly. I saw some of it, not as much as I wanted. I regret not seeing more of Falls of Rarus, to be honest with you. But I made time to see some stuff. Like, obviously Will and I, we saw all of Chemis, or I'd say about 90% of Chemis. And I saw at least a half an hour of Sleep. I saw a lot of A&B. I saw a lot of Waste. I saw a good chunk of Pig Destroyer. But yeah, there was definitely a lot of running around, and that's fine. It's kind of par for the course, honestly. But once all the breweries were there, and once we knew all the bands were there, and everybody had all their stuff together, it was just like more just answering kind of little questions here and there. And Alex Yard, who Will mentioned a moment ago, like she was extremely helpful. Like I've never done an event and had somebody who I could consider kind of a co-producer in that sense, who knew the event or the festival as well as I did. So that made a world of difference, and I don't think I could have executed something like that without her or did something on that scale just by myself. I've done one-off shows that have been done really well and sold out or whatever, but like nothing, not an event that scale. I don't think you need at least two people for something like that. Let's put it that way.
Mm-hmm. You mentioned that you're already working on next year. Is that something that's going to be like a constant thing that has to be worked on from the end of the last one to the beginning of the next one? Or is that something that you can sort of, knock out a bunch of stuff ahead of time and then you've got some time to kill until the next show?
I mean, I think it's always in your head, like I think if you have something that is a recurring annual thing like that, you're always like kind of looking a couple of years down the line, even like, I'd like to do this with this in 2018, which puts us in a position to do this in 2019. And so I think it is kind of always on your mind. And since I know exactly some of the things that I wanted to change from year one to year two, it's like I'm very, very eager and borderline anxious to kind of get going with year two.
Mm-hmm.
There's a couple things we have to kind of figure out, just like some reconciliation stuff, like just boring bookkeeping stuff to get it sorted, and then we can just move right into year two. But I mean, all the groundwork is there. All the hard stuff is we're kind of past that now. We made it a thing, which was always the key. Like, we've talked about it as a thing, but it just wasn't a thing. Now it's a thing. So once it's a thing, you just can kind of make it a better thing.
And some of the learning curve stuff, I'm sure you've already worked out, like how you get breweries from around the country and the world, if you bring in Mikkeller, to pour beer in a state where you have all these the 3-tier systems and stuff. If you already figured that out, it's like, okay, well, we just use the same distributor that we used last year, or you've already had experience, obviously, with the Decibel Magazine tour, which I went to in Philly the week before the Metal Beer Fest. But it seems like if you have a lot of that stuff, like, all right, we've already been through it once, so we know how to do it. It's just a matter of doing it again.
Yeah, no, I mean that is true. The hardest stuff is kind of in the rear view in that sense, and now it's just kind of tweaking it and making it more user friendly for everyone involved. For us in the production side, for the breweries and the bands, for the fans, just making everything better. Mm-hmm. And yeah. No, it is. It's exciting. It was exciting to be able to do it and pull it off, and it's exciting to know that it has a future and honestly, I think a bright one with a lot of possibilities. Just even beyond, like, well beyond what we're doing right now.
So I know there's a few breweries that were dying to be pouring beer at the fest, like Oliver Ales in Baltimore, who I know contacted Adam. DC Brow, who Brandon from DC Brow was there at the festival. I know those guys would love to pour next year. Are there other breweries that have contacted you who definitely want to do it next year, and bands that have said, like, hey, we want to be a part of this next year?
Yeah, I mean, there were. I would say that after when we made the announcement back in November of last year, there were immediately at least a dozen breweries that reached out to us who wanted to be involved, and we were just maxed out with space by that point. But I was basically just trying to tell people, look, you're not getting the friendly brush off. Like, we want to make this a real annual event. So hang tight. So I do think that I know we are going to be reaching out to some of the people you even specifically mentioned about having them participate in year 2. I want to retain a couple of the breweries from year 1, but I don't want it to just be 20. I don't want it to be just 20 brand new breweries. I like there to be a little bit of a little cohesion from year to year. But I think it'd be cool. I think that there could be some people who could be there 2-3 years in a row and then drop out, take a year off, come back, whatever.
I mean, there's some obvious ones like True, Three Floyds, Hammerheart that have the Holy Mountain, to have the full blown heavy metal aesthetic and narrative that it would be almost a shame if they weren't included. I'm sorry, something in my throat.
might be your foot.
Breweries who are producing beer that I like, that obviously helps. But no,
Droid Theory would be a good one for year 2.
Yeah, definitely.
I think you'll be seeing a Droid Theory there. I think I can. Yeah. I think I can. Pull the curtain back on that one. I mean, they'll be there. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Do you already know the bands for next year? Not that I want you to tell them. Obviously, you don't want to give that yet. But I was just curious if that's already in place.
Not a full lineup. I mean, a couple. I kind of know the basic structure of how I need to build it out. But as far as, and I've got my crazy wish list and my crazy can we pull this off idea list. And some of these have been germinating for years. So I think there's a couple things that'll come to fruition, but it's ideally I would like to know the full lineup by, say, end of August, mm-hmm. and then announce it in October, something like that. So yeah, it's not that it obviously seems like it's forever away. But to me, it's right around the corner in a lot of ways, And for us, what we're doing, as a magazine, as Decibel as a magazine, like we want to continue to add beer coverage to what we're doing, because I don't like the idea of, announcing the festival, promoting it for 6 months, and then going dark for 6 months. Mm-hmm. To me, that seems like, number one, it seems disingenuous, and number two, it just seems silly when you have this. Like, obviously, Decibel's had a connection between metal and beer for a long, long time, but I think those months of the year when we're not promoting the fest, we need to make that connection a bit clearer, and we've already taken some steps to do that. So you'll see in the coming weeks a couple more announcements that are kind of related to Decibel and beer.
Along those same lines, what you were just mentioning, I noticed that in one of the second last, or the episode, or the issue that came out a couple months ago, that DC Brau actually bought advertising space in the magazine. Are they the first brewery to do that? Do you know?
There were a few that did it in that issue. Also, there was Phantom Carriage out in California and Society.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, you're right. Yep, Society.
So, I can't remember if we had any breweries advertising at that prior to that. I don't think we did. I see it as a, not to be all gross, but I do see it as a potential revenue stream in some capacity in those months where the festival isn't going on. But I think that's going to really depend on us becoming more an authoritative voice with the beer stuff, which is going to lead to more metal and beer contributors beyond just Adam Tepedelen, So it's something that like we're gonna build organically and work on, so it isn't like some weird, all of a sudden 20% of the magazine is beer. Like I don't want it to turn into that either. But I like the idea of more things kind of popping up and popping in there and appearing online, and the connections just getting clearer and clearer. Because I think it's already there for a lot of people, but I think just fleshing it out a bit more,
I mean, there's obviously, I think there's a huge connection, and the three of us on the pod, or the four of us on the podcast, and you, I mean, we're all metalheads and all beer nerds, and I've been hosting metal nights at my various breweries and now we're doing live music at Atlas. Right. And that there's a huge draw between the people who come out for the metal shows and like the collision, I like to call it, between craft beer and metal. I mean, it's a very organic thing, it seems like. And if people were not, here in Northern Virginia or DC, if I keep doing these things at the brewery, people are coming to the brewery. Well, I'm not serving you Bud Light, so if you want a beer, you're going to start drinking our beer, and people's tastes, I've seen over the course of the years, my friends' tastes have changed into better beer. So I'm forcing it upon them.
Yeah, I also think, though, we don't, at least in our area, we don't see too many of those Bud Light guys coming in, or Bud Light people coming into the shows anyway. Yeah. I think it's a little more advantageous just because the beer scene has exploded so much in this area.
They're all up on the stage, like Steve Jansen and his Miller Lite.
I think he was drinking PBR.
Well, he was drinking Miller Lite with us after like 6 old Rasputin's.
Yeah. I think it's good. I like that there's a lack of pretension too. I think that's important. I know the true guys, like the chemist guys, you can give them PBRs and like that they'll make it work.
Well, I know during the show at the fest, I know Blake and I think Scott from Pig Destroyer were drinking PBR, and I know they were both beer nerds.
Well, so, Scott definitely. Blake is just an alcohol nerd, I
think. So I remember the first time I read a Decibel magazine and saw Adam's beer column, and I was like, well, that's different. You don't see that in every magazine. How did that originally come about that he would have a metal beer column?
Jeez. I can't remember the specifics of it, but he basically informed me that he was a beer writer also on the side. Or, I mean, honestly, I can't even remember at the time if he was a beer writer and a metal writer on the side, or a metal writer and a beer writer on the side.
He was already a contributor to the magazine, right?
Yeah, he was a regular contributor, and I can't remember if he pitched. He may have done something like he may have pitched a craft beer like trend piece or something, and all I remember is whatever he pitched, it didn't seem. I kind of tweaked it, and it became. For whatever reason, I thought it could like work better as a column. I thought that was like, because I was interested in craft beer. This is like, I guess, 2008 or 2009, probably 2009. Like I had a legitimate interest in it myself, and I thought, well, the craft beer thing, like that could be a cool trend piece, but it's just like 1 month and it's here and it's gone. Whereas maybe it'd be a little more adventurous if we dedicated some monthly real estate to it and see where it went, and you'd be able to gauge a reaction. You get much more than the small sample size that a one-time 4-page feature creates versus 6 to 12 months of data, and people will talk about it or they won't talk about it, or they'll talk about it positively or negatively or whatever. So we decided to kind of go that route, and it was before a lot of the breweries kind of made that metal and beer connection. Obviously, Three Floyds was around then, and Todd Hogg was at Surly still and doing his thing, but there weren't a ton of those like obvious metal friendly or explicitly metal breweries that you have today. And it was even interesting to me when we were doing the Metal and Beer Fest issue. We did profiles on all 17 breweries that were pouring at the festival, and one of the little bullet points that we had for each of them was the year. We listed the year that they started, and so many of them were like 2012 or 2013 or 2011. These breweries that started like clearly after the column was in place, and I'm not pointing that out in a way that I'm suggesting that the column somehow influenced that, because I don't think it did. I think that it just kind of illustrates how recent this boom is and how just how widespread it is, and how we are, I guess, in a really advantageous position, considering that we do have that kind of legacy with it, and an expert like Adam being the main contributor behind it. So yeah, I mean, it's like 10% good intuition, 90% dumb luck that it kind of all it fell into place like that.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a couple columns, in the Decibel that don't necessarily have a 100% direct connection. I mean, obviously Adam loves beer and metal. Richard Christie's column, which is like kind of like more about horror, but he kind of weaves into the musical aspect to it. For a while, you had like I forget who was writing it, but it was the parenting, the spawn of Decibel or something like that.
Oh yeah, Anthony Barkowitz's short-lived column, and then he got too busy with his kids to continue it. Yeah, that was the most real column ever.
Yeah, and you have like the Metal Mothers. That's it's more direct connection, but there's a couple in there which I find interesting. I always read them.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, no, I for me, one of the main ideas behind Decibel when we started it was I didn't want it to just be that kind of cut and paste metal magazine where here are your 12 features on these metal bands, and then here are 40 reviews and goodbye, see you next month. Like I wanted it to have some kind of personality, and I wanted it to have something that basically didn't necessarily exist just in its own cocoon. I wanted to portray the people who played this music as potentially having other interests other than this music, and I think a lot of the humor that a lot of the writers share manifested itself in creating some of those offshoots and some of those columns. So it's always nice when somebody points out that, like, hey, I like these little kind of weird things that you guys do in the front of the book or whatever. So no, that's cool.
I'll be honest. I kind of look forward, or I have looked forward to the baseball every year when it's come out in there.
Oh man, yeah. I'm sorry. And that's so are you a baseball nerd too, and a beer nerd and a metal nerd?
Oh yeah, big time.
Okay,
yeah.
good.
Yeah, no.
So
I think that's
the baseball preview was really driven by me and our former managing editor Andrew Bonazelli, who we kind of separated with almost exactly a year ago around this time. So while there are other baseball fans who are staff writers, the only editorial left who gave a shit about baseball was me, and it to me it felt weird. It felt disingenuous again trying to do that without Andrew. So I just kind of shelved it, and I've had a couple people have approached me lamenting the fact that it was not in the April Streeting issue. But once my baseball team actually is competitive again,
Ha!
Go Phillies.
Go Nats. We've been playing you guys a lot lately, and
win the championship.
I have to be honest.
Did you say gonads?
Gonads. I got to be honest. So I grew up a Phillies fan.
I
think he had some natitude.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think it was the Artie Lang interview that I watched on YouTube, where you guys were talking about baseball, and I think that was it. And you were talking about going to see the Phillies back in the presumably the early '80s, Pete Rose, and I was actually a big Phillies fan at that time. Mike Schmidt, Steve Carlton, Larry Boa, Pete Rose, all those guys. So I grew up a Phillies fan, but now that I'm a Nats fan, sorry, just can't.
Oh, that's fine. I mean, you're in Northern Virginia, right?
I'm in Maryland. So I'm actually equidistant between the Nats and the Orioles.
So you should have been an Orioles fan, is what you're saying.
Yeah, well, I grew up in Michigan, so actually I'm a Tigers fan.
All right. Okay.
But I've been here for almost 20 years.
I'm from Pennsylvania, and I moved out to Northern Virginia in December 2008. A little over a month after the Phillies won the World Series, because I had nothing left to do in Philadelphia. The mountain had been climbed. It was conquered. There was no reason to stick around any longer. So I ended up moving to Northern Virginia, and the Nats have become the tables have turned. They built a strong farm system. They made some good free agent signings and made some good trades, and I would expect them to honestly run away with this division again this year, and we'll see what happens in the playoffs. They have not had good luck.
No one in Washington has good luck there.
No, well, yeah, the Capitals are adorable when you get to the postseason.
I think the word you're looking for is hopeless.
Yeah, I think it's funny because I watch all of you get excited and forget what's the inevitable that's about.
Oh no, I used to get very excited about the playoffs. Last 2-3 years, I'm like, yeah, here we go again. So
yeah, no, I mean the Flyers are the same way. Let's be honest. I mean, when the Flyers were throughout the '90s and a good part of the early part of the aughts, they did the same thing. So no, I see a lot of what we did and what you're doing right now. And you never know. It's all like once you get to the playoffs and in more or less any sport, luck plays a significant role. There's a reason teams dominate the regular season because they're fucking good. But once you get to the playoffs and you have short series,
it's a different beast.
So much of what determines your success is just gone. It's just chance. I firmly believe that. I mean, it's really hard for, like, unless some team is just so much better than everybody else, like the late '90s Yankees or whatever. But those teams don't come around often. So
I think we can both agree that the Penguins suck.
Yeah, no, we can both,
common ground.
Hope for Sidney Crosby to blow out both knees in one, in one game. That's fine.
Yeah,
I just want to.
Well, we keep concussing him, but he keeps coming back.
Yeah.
What do you want to say? I'm sorry.
Hey,
No, I just said I want to see him. I just want to see him cry because I fucking hate him so much. And I'm a Sharks fan. I'm from San Francisco, so there's not much.
You don't even have a horse in this race. You just want to see him suffer. I get it.
Yeah. Well, anytime he gets away with murder on the ice and then whines and cries about it, I just want to see his head get pummeled. So.
Yeah.
So speaking of suffering and murder, I want to get back to metal for a second.
All right.
And this is a serious question for you, Albert. Is there another metal magazine in all of North America at this point, aside from Decibel?
Other than that one that we will not speak of.
I mean, I would assume Revolver is still a thing, right?
Yeah, but they don't really do metal.
That's
Not really.
I'm talking.
I mean, they do the hottest chicks in hard rock, though, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the best metalcore and screamo bands and whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, it's I don't know, man. I mean,
but I mean, this is not. I'm like, I literally don't know. Like, I don't
know. I've been so consumed with my own bullshit for so long that I have a hard time kind of paying attention to what everybody else has going on. I do know that they are currently publishing bi-monthly or something like that, and that they recently got sold again, which seems to happen to them every couple of years. I don't know who keeps buying Revolver, but I don't know what their future holds if they are going to continue as a print magazine, because I believe the company that purchased them was a digital in nature.
Did Cosmo buy them, and they're just gonna?
I think they'd be very happy if Cosmo bought them. I think there'd be advice. I think they could all retire early if Cosmo's publisher picked them up. But no, I would assume that there are still like interesting zines around and stuff that's just off my radar. And it's not because I'm like willfully ignorant. It's just because I'm old and busy. And if somebody handed me a zine tomorrow, I'd read the whole goddamn thing. But I haven't like made an effort to find anything, and I don't spend a ton of time on blogs and stuff like that. I see links that show up in my Facebook feed like everybody else does, but there isn't a site that I'm going to that I feel that I identify with, that I feel like
wearemetalheads.com.
Yeah. Okay. All right, I'll go there.
It's shameless self-promotion.
Yeah, you know what I mean. I've just kind of got my own stuff to worry about when it comes to that, and I'm not even, I'll gladly talk shit on anybody. Don't get me wrong. I just haven't, I haven't tuned in.
This you just walked into a couple of my later questions, so I'm going to go ahead and hit you with those now. First question is, in this digital age, how does one keep a print magazine afloat?
Well, I think the thing is, for us, we were fortunate fortunate enough to get in the door right before the infrastructure kind of collapsed of metal magazines. One thing I do remember is when we started Decibel, is I went to like a Tower Records and went to the newsstand and grabbed every or metal-centric publication I could find, and there were a bunch of them. There were names that I don't remember, magazines that were like around for a couple of years, none of which were very good, but there was enough of a community and enough labels selling enough records that had enough money to advertise in half a dozen to 10 to a dozen publications a month. So like we were able to kind of get in on that, and then you saw the war of attrition take place over time as the years go by. That ad revenue would dry up, and a lot of those record labels had to make some serious decisions about what they were going to support. And I think the fact that I honestly feel like we did a good job making a good magazine that had its own identity and its own voice. It kind of brought something different, and it looked good. It was a professionally laid out magazine. So we had a lot of good things, a lot of things in our favor. So I think the industry ended up supporting us, which helped. Us, I think part of the reason we've been able to survive is, number one, we never really had aspirations to be some massive mainstream magazine. We never thought, we can print 500,000 of these magazines. We weren't working under the auspices that we should have a circulation like Spin or something like that. All of these kind of general audience sized publications. We were working within a niche sized publication and just trying to get a foothold of that. So we kind of concentrated on that, which inevitably ended up being a really good strategy, even though I don't think we were cognizant of it at the time. We were we'll just work within what we know, and it turns out that was like what you needed to do to survive. So I think that was helpful. And then I think the other thing for us in particular was, and without sounding too gross, kind of like expanding the brand of Decibel via additional revenue streams that were actually cool, like actually making interesting things, like putting together a tour, putting together a metal and beer festival, developing a flexi series, publishing books, doing these things, creating these interesting products and events are identified and connected with. Like, as an example, we didn't do an award show because who gives a fuck? Like I'm a fan, so I was like, what do I like? Oh, I like records, and I like books, and I like to go to shows, and I like to drink beer, and like we just started to take these things that were passions and figure out ways to create these unique products and events that were unique to us, and then market them and make them put them out for our audience, and our audience was excited because they're like us, they like the same things we like. So inevitably, I want to buy that book. Yeah, I want to make sure my subscription comes with a flexi disc. Yeah, I want to go to the tour. Yeah, I want to go to the festival. So for us, having a bunch of additional revenue streams, that's kind of, I think, been the other key to us being able to weather the storm when it comes to the erosion of print. And I mean, by the same token, like, we still sell a bunch of ads, and that stuff is still strong. It's just been adding these other elements. So if one day the bottom did fall out of something, we have other things that we can replace it with,
Cool.
Yeah, the one thing I appreciate about Decibel is that it definitely is not catering to the lowest common denominator form of metal. You don't see a ton of, if at all, metalcore in there. You're not writing feature articles on Linkin Park and asking Alexandria to get like it's a very niche, and I think for me, I know like I'm a loyal subscriber, loyal follower. I read almost the entire magazine from front to back the entire time because it fits right in a genre of all the things that I love about metal, including the books, which I know we want to get to Choosing Death later because I read the whole thing front to back and it was one of the greatest. It is by far the best book about metal I've ever read because it was all about the things that I grew up in. Being a 44-year-old man, I grew up in the 80s listening to all that stuff. So this was like the perfect book for me. That's just my personal story. But and then the other thing I just thought of, Albert, how you can expand the revenue stream. It's brilliant. Buy a minor league baseball team and call it the Decibels.
There was
and only sell good beer and play metal.
Oh, man, that would be fucking awesome. We did. It only happened once. We wanted to make an annual thing, but I had to be a dick and move out of Philadelphia, and it all kind of fell apart. But we had a softball game one summer, and it was Decibel versus Relapse. and we still have like our little like 3/4 like baseball uniform, like Decibel uniforms, and our logo was Christ. I can't remember the year. It was late 80s when Nolan Ryan threw at Robin Ventura, and Robin Ventura charged the mound and got his ass beat by Nolan Ryan like on the mound, and like the image is just like fucking Nolan Ryan like like in a headlock, like fist is just about to meet.
Is this when he was on the Astros or the Rangers?
Rangers.
Okay.
Rangers. Yeah, I'll send you a video. It's wonderful because he's like 20 years older than Robin Ventura at the time.
Yeah.
And now that I'm 41, it's like I identify more with Nolan Ryan, obviously, than Robin Ventura.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'll get right on that.
I had another question that goes back to what we were talking about before. It's a two-part question. How does Decibel stack up against the British mags like Metal Hammer and Terrorizer? And is there any kind of like rivalry or camaraderie between the magazines? I like to think there's a camaraderie, but maybe there's nothing at all.
I mean, there is a camaraderie between, I think, people who work on the magazines, not necessarily the magazines themselves.
Mm-hmm.
I am friends with a number of former Terrorizer editors. Nick Terry, who was the editor of Terrorizer from 96 to 2000, and that to me is always kind of the golden age of Terrorizer, where I thought that they did their best work and they really kind of shaped the way that I wrote and what I wanted to do if I ever got the chance to do a magazine. There was elements of humor. There was this willingness and bravery when it came to coverage of not just doing death block and doom metal, like being able to reach into noise rock and avant-garde things. I appreciated that. So, Nick is a friend, and then the guy who replaced Nick, Jonathan Selzer, is a good friend, and he's now basically the number 2 guy at Metal Hammer UK. And there's Louise Brown, who was not Jonathan's successor. I think there was 1 or 2 very short-lived editors in between Jonathan and Louise, who edited Iron Fist for, I think, 18 issues. She and I are good friends now, a monthly Decibel contributor. So there are these relationships with people who have worked at the magazines, but there isn't necessarily like hey, we're on this together kind of thing with like whoever the fuck the publisher is, Metal Hammer and Decibel. And part of that is just to do with the distance, you know, like I don't, I'm not in London often, or wherever the hell their offices are now. So I don't, I'm not going to shows, I'm not hanging out, we're not doing that kind of thing. So it's like, there isn't really a competition. Like like we send Terrorizer, we send them promo copies of Decibel, they send us promo copies of Terrorizer, and I flip through it. I don't read it, to be honest with you. It just doesn't grab me. And it's probably more reflection on my interests than necessarily what they're doing. And Metal Hammer, I honestly just haven't seen in ages because they don't send it to me, and I'm not paying $12 for a magazine.
Yeah.
Or whatever it costs. You know.
That's definitely one of the things I notice is if I do see it rarely, but when I do see it in a magazine stand somewhere, it's so expensive. I'm like, you know.
I subscribe digitally. It's a little better that way.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would think. But yeah, I just haven't. You know, I know there's, like, obviously Jonathan is there, and I'm well aware of his skill set. He's great. And Dial Patterson, who wrote the book Black Metal and the compendium that we released here in the U.S. last year, which is also called Black Metal. Although it had a subtitle that I can't remember right because I drank a lot of that. All I see is carrion. Yeah, The Cult Never Dies.
Yeah, I got that one. I bought that one.
So, and he writes for that and he contributes to us. So I know that there's, you know, to me, there's obviously quality writers who are a part of it. But as far as like these relationships with the magazine, I think everybody is like I think everybody is kind of looking at what everybody else is doing. I think everybody's kind of checking everybody out here and there, but again, I think everybody's kind of so busy with worrying about their own backyard that we don't really kind of fixate on what everybody else is doing. I mean, again, I'll do my best to mock Revolver when I see it, but I don't go out of my way to find it. You know?
I'll help you there. What did you think about the Metal Hammer drama back around Christmas when Team Rock shit the bed?
I thought it was pretty fucked up because, you know, like I said, Jonathan Selzner, who's basically the managing editor there, is a friend of mine, and knowing that he was out of a job just like through no fault of his own just seemed wrong. And I don't remember the name of the company that ran it into the ground.
Team Rock.
Team Rock. No, but it was like Team Rock was like this thing that it was this umbrella thing that they invented, but it was a publisher that instituted this Team Rock idea. Mm-hmm. And I can't remember the name of that publisher. Okay. But anyway, it was like they, you know, it was like part website, the print angles with classic rock and Metal Hammer, and then some fucking internet radio thing that they sunk $1 million into or something crazy. So for me, and they had like some really insane fat staff of like almost 70 people, and like there are 4 or 5 people full time who do Decibel. That's it. And that goes, you know, obviously we don't just do a magazine. So like you can do a lot if you're working hard and you have a lot of talented people who are also willing to work hard and buy into something like this. So for me, I was just like, I didn't get the business structure of it to begin with. So I wasn't terribly surprised, but at the same time, I was just like, that seems unfair because Metal Hammer, any publisher with a half a brain should be able to take Metal Hammer and make money on it, because I understand that it's like in Europe it just dwarfs all the other metal magazines. You know what I mean? It's like Terrorizer compared to Metal Hammer it's like they have like a speck of that demographic. They just don't have. This thing is huge.
So it didn't like make you nervous at all. What happened to them? Like, is this finally the collapse of print magazines or anything like that?
No,
well, that's good.
I mean, like we have our own. Again, you have your own business. Every magazine is different. Like with Terrorizer's business structure, I'm sure looks nothing like Decibel's. Just as an example, and again, a lot of that is predicated on the revenue streams that you have and where, where you're kind of focusing your energy and where you can make money and where you can kind of develop other, for lack of a better word, properties, but it's all like, again, it's all, everything we do is for me, it's just like born out of our fandom for stuff. So it's always, it always just kind of seems organic and genuine, which is, again, I think like why it works. Like we've never really done anything that just like, I'm sure we'll get there. I'm sure there'll be some colossal fuck up in our future. But like the idea that, like, for me, it's always been like, what's a cool, like, I have an idea that I get excited about, and then we figure out if it's financially solvent. It's not like, oh, here's a way to make money. How do we make it cool? Which I think is like what a lot of the other magazines have kind of had to revert to, whether it's, scantily clad hard rock front women calendars or whatever. It's like, oh, like that's a thing. You can sell those. Like for me, it's more like, what would be cool? What could we do that's cool? Like, what's an awesome book that I want to read? What's a awesome event that I want to attend? What's an awesome record I want to hear? Or whatever that is. And then it's like, all right, then how does that work? How does that work from a business sense? And then if we can figure it out, then we do it. And if it doesn't work, then it's just a cool idea that's a pipe dream in my head. So, no, I don't. When I see somebody else like kind of struggling like that, to me, it doesn't have much to do with us.
I have to say, I've been reading Decibel for going way back to the early number issues. And I've always noticed that there's a lot without being a lot. So we were talking about the Team Rock umbrella, all those like prog rock and the classic rock. They come in these big, huge, plastic or cardboard envelopes, and I'm thinking, man, they're spending so much money on presentation. It seems like it's killing them. You guys give all that without giving all that, meaning you're not overdoing the presentation. There's between the covers, the back and front is where everything matters, I think.
And you get a flexi disc.
Yeah, and you get a flexi disc. But
I agree. I think you're right. And in a perfect world, or a world from 20 years ago, I guess, or 25 years ago, it would be great that there'd be all this excess money that the labels would have that they don't know what the fuck to do with, that I could justify having a crazy heavy cover stock or whatever, crazy printing or some of the adventurous things that some of those other European magazines have to do. But it's also, we're very fortunate in that the market here it's not as crowded as it is over there. Right. There's like Metal Hammer, and then there's like the other rock magazines, and there's Terrorizer, and there's Zero Tolerance, and there's Iron Fist, and there's probably a bunch of other like.
Is Kerrang still around?
Yeah. And I was about to say there's like probably a bunch of shit like Kerrang.
How does anybody
that I have no idea what it is, but it's all like they're all like jockeying for position, so they all have to wow somebody on the newsstand. Where us, I think it's also that we've been around so long that we have a core fan base that's pretty solid in place that we can kind of just build off of, and people can kind of make their decision a little more you don't have to kind of like wow people with like with the fancy printing and the fancy covers and all that stuff month to month. I think if you just continue to make something that's actually good, and you have a reputation for doing that at least in America, that's probably going to be helpful, or that's going to kind of help carry the day for you for a while at least.
It seems to me that the last I don't know if they were True Metal magazine, but the last one that was more consistent for metal was Brave Worlds, and I just remember one day it just wasn't there on the shelf anymore. This is, I guess, going back a few years, but they used to have a heavy presentation with their stuff, and I just wondered if they killed themselves on that model that they were using.
Yeah, I didn't. I don't know what happened there.
Because I think they were Canadian based, weren't they?
Yeah, they were. And they were independent, and they still do their site, so they still have the brand. Should they ever decide to get crazy and relaunch a print version,
right.
So they do have that. But yeah, I mean, there were definitely interesting magazines. I mean, there was Brave Words. I mean, obviously Metal Maniacs.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah,
was important, super important growing up to me. I mean, I got that magazine in 91 or 92, and that was like being able to read about like Sepultura and Napalm Death on the newsstand. Then that was a big deal for me.
You know, it was a big deal for me as a kid. Cream magazine.
I miss Hit Parader.
Yeah, Hit Parader. I had that one.
That's how
far
back I.
When I was
I remember all of those. I mean, I remember also Rip.
Yeah.
Yep.
Metal Mania.
And Rip for me was always like the I don't know, like there's an article about Sepultura here, but I'd have to take this magazine with Axl Rose on the cover to the counter, and I don't want to look like a poser, so no, I'm not fucking buying that.
My very first rock magazine was an issue of Hit Parader with David Lee Roth on the cover, and he's like got no shirt on, and he's like got his thumbs in his spandex, and he's pulling it down just a little bit of pubage there. And my mom was just like, "What is this?
Who is this handsome man?"
It was like, when 1984 came out, I think, so it was probably around 1984.
You still have that on your wall, don't you, George?
Dude.
So, Albert.
Yes, sir.
So, I know at the end of the year, you guys are going to do your top 40 best albums of the year. Can you give us a little insight of what you've heard already in 2017 and what you're what's looking strong with the Force right now?
Here, let me go to my let me go to my recently added and see what I've been playing. The new Municipal Waste record is great. The new Integrity record is great.
Integrity's out of Philly, right?
No, they're all over the place. They're part out of DC, part out of Belgium right now.
Oh, okay. I thought they were Philly.
I mean, it's been a great year for old school death metal right now. I mean, between Obituary and Immolation, Memoriam, even though they're a new band, but obviously the heritage there. The new Suffocation is great. There's new Incantation records on the way. There's this project called Expulsion, which is Matt Olivo from Repulsion and Matt Harvey from a billion fucking bands.
Exhumed. Gruesome.
Yeah. And it's just this great throwback-ish without being too indebted to the past. So yeah, for me it's there's that Lockup record, which is actually surprisingly awesome. For me so far, 2007 has been defined by death metal bands who have 25 years of history at least, still making some of the best music of their career. So I'm sure that kind of death metal will play a large role. There's been other records that I've really liked. I I really like the Creator record.
Yeah,
it's
really
gotten
good.
a lot of mixed. I feel like it's got a mixed response from people. I think there's still some old schoolers who, maybe not old schoolers is the right word. Some battle jacket posers who can't deal with that band sounding different than their first 5 records now.
But my personal opinion, man, I've liked Creator since what was it? Extreme Aggression was the first one I got when they came out with the MTV video Betrayer in 1980.
89.
Yeah, but I mean, Hordes of Chaos to me is their pinnacle of just unbelievably awesomeness. But Phantom Antichrist was great, and this new record, I can't even think of the name of it right now, which is embarrassing. But
Gods of Violence.
Yeah, Gods of Violence. It was slow because I compare everything to either Extreme Aggression or I compare it to Hordes of Chaos, and it was a slow burn for me. But the more I listen to it, like it's I just think of like these guys have been around for almost 30 years now, and and Millie is still putting out a high quality thrash product, and that's something to be said for that. I mean, I love it. It's definitely going to make my year-end list for sure.
I'm glad that you're into it, and I think that there's got to like more old school fans. When I hear that they appreciate what Creator are doing now, it makes me happy because I just think it's good quality metal. It isn't necessarily defined by thrash or whatever. And yeah, he doesn't sing like he sang on Endless Pain. I fucking get it, but that's whatever. I think the songs are good, and that's one of my favorites. I like the Pallbearer record, although I haven't gone back to it lately, to be honest with you.
I'll admit I've been listening to that a lot, and I'm trying really hard to love it. And and Foundations of Burning for me was unbelievable. I mean, still one of my favorite records of all time. But this new one, it's like those slight guitar tone differences, slight sort of tempo. I don't know. There's just, it sounds a lot. It's obviously Pallbearer. It sounds like Pallbearer, but there's just this slight edge that's off of it. And whether it's guitar tones, whether it's just they sound, I don't know, less depressed. I don't know.
It's more prog and less metal, which I think is probably a transition that some people are not super into, and I get it. It's fine. There's a bunch of stuff that I have that'll be out later this year that I really like. Like the new Wolves in the Throne Room is really good. I really like the new Merker record. There's a new Paradise Lost record. There's a new Valenfire record. All that stuff is awesome. Heard some tracks from the Lurking Fear. Heard the new Venom. There's a lot of interesting things on the way that it's a good solid year for metal. I mean, I guess at the bottom line is what I'd say. I have no idea what it'll look like between now and then, just especially since record labels have a habit of stacking releases in the fourth quarter. So I think there'll be a lot of high profile stuff that I'll want to make sure I hear before it's all said and done. So who knows?
Yeah, it's interesting because I said it on an earlier podcast this year, is that it just seemed like this last year seemed like it was a doom metal year. This year seems like it's a death metal year. Like there's a lot of strong death metal out there, and like a lot of the underground stuff that I'm finding on Bandcamp. And when we saw each other at Champion for the Decibel Brew Day, we were playing some Rude, like RUDE, and I was telling James about it. I'm like, you got this literally sounds like this is either Scream Bloody Gore or Slowly Rerot sort of era old school death metal, and they nailed it. Like I just feel like, whether it's gruesome or there's these other death metal bands out there that are just nailing that old school sound, and they're, for whatever reason, 2017, it's the year for the throwback death metal, and they're nailing it. I think it's great.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of stuff. Have you heard Skeletal Remains?
Yep.
Yeah, okay. I think so.
Yeah, I mean, they don't have I don't know if they'll get a record out this year, but like as far as bands kind of doing that throwback style right now, they're at the top of the game for me. There's other bands that do that kind of thing that I like a lot, who haven't made many records lately, but the newer one for me is Skeletal Remains, where I'm just like, whoa, this is like definitely checking every box that I want out of this style of music.
There's a local band to Frederick, Maryland called Inhumation, and they're doing a great job, if you know them. And then just one of the guys from, our Twitter feed podcast listeners, I think it was Rick, the Excommunion album called Thronosis, which is really good. I'm digging that one. Yeah, I mean, there's so much stuff out there. It's just Extremity. That was actually I picked up. There's a couple I picked up actually from the latest issue of Decibel. Extremity, which is a good throwback kind of death metal sound. Like, yeah, there's some
Evocation. That's not really old school, but it's good.
Yeah, no, they were old school. They were around in the early 90s. They definitely qualify. They just didn't get a full length out until like 2007 or something.
I was pleased to see it's God the Throne out of the Netherlands. They broke up, and then all of a sudden, like, hey, here's a new album. Like, whoa, what happened?
Yep.
So I'm pretty pleased with them coming out with. It's not. I don't think it's quite up to what Storm of Steel or whatever, or Behind the Cross that they've done before. But I'm always a sucker for historical metal, whether it's XDO doing all this stuff about the Roman Empire, or God the Throne always doing stuff about World War I. But I mean, I'm a huge God the Throne fan, so I was happy to see them coming out with something.
Yeah, no, they've always been solid. There's some good death doom on the way too. There's a band out of Michigan called Temple of Void.
Yeah.
We know them. Yep.
Yeah. So they have a new one that'll be out in August. It's really good. There's the band Loss, who I don't think they're quite funeral doom. They're probably more death doom.
Yeah, they have the new one's called Horizon List, and I pre-ordered it.
That one's there's really, like, both of those records are super powerful. It seems like another solid year, and we're just Neckrot. Forgot about them. Jeez, yeah, that's like one of the better old school death metal records that I've heard this year. There's no shortage of stuff.
Is that out yet?
I think it's June. June.
We mentioned your book Choosing Death earlier, which came out, I believe, the originally in 2004, and then you did an updated version more recently. I think Will had some questions about that, but my question is this ever going to see a Kindle release? I've been waiting to pull the trigger on this because I almost never read physical books anymore, even though I keep buying all the metal ones that come out. The Metallica's Back to the Front, and I've got the Celtic Frost history and all these other books. But if I actually want to read it, it needs to be Kindle so I can take it around with me on my phone. Is that ever going to happen?
Don't you have like a bathroom in your house, man? Can't you just fucking put the physical book in there and just like...
I read everything on my phone because I'm so busy that the way I read is like in 5-minute bits where I'm on the can, or I'm waiting to get my oil changed, or I'm waiting for my wife to get ready to leave, or
Right, that's how I do those things in the bathroom.
That's how I consume my reading.
Well, you can just put the book like in that bathroom, and it can stay in there as long as you as long as your house is big enough that you have a bathroom that your wife is like terrified to enter.
Oh, I definitely have my own.
Right. Well, then you just buy that fucking book and you put it in there and you leave it in there for 6 months, and it will be your bathroom companion.
It sounds like that's what I'm going to have to do. I'm thinking the answer on that one is a no.
Yeah, because I don't give a fuck about digital books. I don't. I mean, I think maybe someday it's a little complicated in that when we released the revised and expanded hardcover edition through Decibel Books in 2015, we purchased the rights from the original publisher of Choosing Death, which was Feral House. So we have the rights to the digital book, but I just wasn't compelled. I wasn't compelled to release it digitally because I just felt it would cannibalize physical sales, number one, and then number two, I just didn't have an interest in it. It just felt like a loser, you know. I mean, not, I just mean like a financial loser. It just didn't seem like a right, you know. Like I couldn't justify like the $2 or $3 we'd make on every sale. I don't know. It just wasn't worth it for me, honestly. And then it's like further. It's all further complicated in that I've went and I did a new deal with Bazillion Points, my good friend Ian Christie, to do a paperback version of Choosing Death Now, which he released, which is actually like, you know, even though like, you know, we put out the hardcover version through Decibel, the paperback is a fucking monster. It weighs more than the hardcover. It's on like a really heavy paper stock, and it's got like a huge color section, and it's like physically the dimensions of the book are bigger. So it's like a really like it's a pretty intense paperback. So like there's like, you know, there's that, and I was just like, you know what, let these books just be physical for now, and maybe a couple of years down the road we'll release it on Kindle or whatever bullshit platform is making people forget about physical books then in a few years. But like for me, it's the print books. Like and I get it. I understand people have to consume their media. Sometimes people are just kind of limited by their lifestyle and how they can consume that media, and they want to read that stuff. I get it. People, like, I read the New York Times on my phone. I fucking get it. But as far as a book, for me, I see a book as this kind of moment of disconnecting from everything else.
Like if you just do this, George. It's like vinyl.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
I get it. You know, I never thought I was going to go digital because I mean, I have tons and tons of physical books, and so when Kindle came out, I was like, yeah, whatever. And then I tried it, and I was like, okay, I get liking books because I love books.
Right.
But this is so convenient to be able to, you know, not only could I read it on my phone, but I could sync it between, you know, my home and my work computer. So like when it's lunchtime, I can pull up my book and read it, and it's synced with, and then when I go home, it's synced there, and I can pick it right up again.
Or,
no, I get it.
Or you could just put it in your backpack and then take a bookmark.
And that's the thing. That's the thing. And like, and I completely understand it. I completely understand the convenience of it. But for me, I like the idea of this unplugging where, all right, say you were reading the book on your phone or your Kindle, or let's say you're reading it on your phone or your laptop or whatever. Like, you could have another window open where you're getting emails or messages or alerts or texts, and you are like
distracted.
You're distracted. You are pulled out of it. If it's just you in the book, it's you in the book, and I think there's just something to be said, just in general, for this disconnection. Like, we're all online. We're all always. And I know I am too. I'm just as guilty as anyone else. You know, like, I'll be fucking eating dinner and like going through the Twitter feed trying to see what Trump set on fire in the last like 2 hours or whatever. You know, like I get it. Like I do the same thing. So that, like, those moments are fewer and further between than ever before where you can unplug. And I want to be able to create more of those. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So every time there's like an actual like physical book that doesn't have that digital option, in my head, it's creating that experience where people are like, you know, like they're not getting those distractions. They're not getting that agitation of scrolling through something. They're just fucking reading.
Fair enough. I say, George, I find this conversation very amusing just because you're such a fan of vinyl and you espouse the virtues of vinyl because it's exactly everything just Albert
but I'm also
said.
digital.
Right.
I have everything I have on vinyl. I have in FLAC, not MP3, so that I can listen to it wherever I need to. But then when I'm home and I'm sitting down with my digital book, I can listen to vinyl. but I will say, okay, I obviously I'm going to have to tomorrow. I'm going to order the book. So there you go. I have an answer, so now I know. I'm just going to have to bite the bullet and, like you said, put it in the bathroom.
Yeah, I mean, as long as you feel that that's like a fair response, I mean, that's my take with it.
You know what,
Albert, I personally love that response just because I know how much, like, I get crap on this podcast because I don't really own much vinyl. I own a gazillion flexi disc. I don't have a record player. So, but when I did see you that one time, because I asked you, like, why don't you put these online? Like, they are stupid. They're on SoundCloud, you more. You know? Like, oh, that's right. Thank you.
Well, you know, the last couple of years, I've been subscribed to Decibel on my iPad.
Okay.
Because I've been reading magazines for so many years, and I never throw them away. And so I had mountains and mountains of magazines, and I get all, well, I don't get Revolver anymore, but I get Decibel, Metal Hammer, and Terrorizer.
Is it because the pages stick together?
But
they take up space. I get it.
But I recently switched over, with a little bit of overlap, I might add, back to the physical copies so that I could get the Crypt Sermon flexi disc.
There's some other. There's plenty of other cool flexi discs that are en route. So you'll be. I hope you'll be satisfied with the extra paper in your life.
It's the only one now, so it's not as bad.
Yeah.
You got extra room. Playboy doesn't have naked women anymore, so you know. I know you stop.
Cancel that right away.
No, well, they're going back to it.
Are they?
Oh.
Yeah.
Why? Because no one really read the articles.
Exactly. Yeah, that wasn't bullshit.
Wow.
Hey, Albert. Speaking of books, and I've got all your guys' books, but I'm missing one, and that is Volume 1 of the Hall of Fame. Any chance of that ever being reissued?
Out of print.
It's unlikely, only because we didn't publish that. We did a deal with Decibel, who are the publisher that is probably most famous for the 33 1/3 book album series, which I'm sure you guys are familiar with.
Slayer.
Slayer. And I have a couple. I think I have Slayer, AC/DC, and the Afghan Wigs. I think are the three that I actually own. So we did this deal with them, and I don't think it was as successful as they would have hoped because they kind of let it just kind of go out of print a bit. And I don't think they ever recouped on the advance they gave us. But what I will say is I think you could easily find used copies of that on Amazon because they're a big legitimate publisher, and I think you can fucking grab them for like a few bucks. So while we don't have plans to put all those Hall of Fames in another volume from Decibel books, that is, you can still grab that pretty easily if you want, I think.
Okay, cool.
Real quick, two quick things. One's a plead and one's a question.
Okay.
Finance Adams, Volume 2. Decibel Guide to Brew
Extreme
Guide
Beers.
to Extreme Beers. Yeah. And so that's my plea from the three of us. And I know you gotta get off. You gotta take off.
I don't get off anymore. I'm married and 2 kids.
Oh yeah, so am I.
Yeah.
But later on in the script, we're going to talk about the top 3 bands that we just absolutely love seeing at the Decibel Metal Beer Fest. So if you can give those to us now, if you think about it off the top of your head, what were your feet?
Okay.
If you can name your 3 favorite.
3, 2, 1.
3, 2, 1. Okay. Who played this thing? Let me look. Let's see who played. It was weeks ago now. I would say number 3 for me would be Sleep, who I hadn't seen for, I don't know, probably 6 or 7 years. And it was a much smaller venue last time I saw them, and I wasn't in the headspace. I remember when I saw them last time, and I was like, oh, this is cool, but like I remember being kind of surprised that as many people were into it back then as there were. Them like on a big stage like that, in a big room with some great sound, especially for them. I think they were just a fucking force of nature that night. And they're a little bit different in some ways than most of the other bands on the bill. So they were like, to me, it was really cool to hear them after hearing Pig Destroyer, so they would have been, they'd have been 3. Number 2 would have been Immolation, just because that band, man, I love that band unconditionally, and they make it really easy because they just keep making great records and they keep just fucking utterly annihilating audiences live. And I could just watch Bob Vigna do his guitar jujitsu all night, up there on stage, and they just were super inspired, and I know it's I know what they had to go through to play that show. The night before they flew in from Europe, they were on a European tour that was about 2.5 weeks, which I believe they booked after I booked them for the festival, so they kind of crammed it in, and I know they had to be jet lagged as fuck. Because they literally flew in from Europe the night before. I know they played the Saturday, and at Friday night at 10 o'clock on Friday night, I got an email from Ross Dolan who was like, "Don't worry, dude, we landed." And I was just like, "Oh my god." Great. So I know that physically they had to be just wrecked, and they just still completely brought it. So that would have been number 2. And then number 1 for me would have been Chemist, because that was actually the first time I had ever seen Chemist. And I mean, obviously Decibel, I think as a whole, are big fans of that band. Both records have charted extremely high in our albums of the year list. Their second album obviously being our number 1 album of last year. And I had obviously watched clips online, and I had friends who'd seen them, but I wasn't prepared for the fact that guitar tone that they have on their albums, they actually also have live. Mm-hmm. So they were great, and it felt really good seeing them command a stage that size, because I know they hadn't really done anything like that before either. That was kind of uncharted territory for them. And just watching them and looking at them and just feeling like they actually belonged up there. It was just kind of a good, just an overall great vibe. And to me, it was the first time I got to meet those guys, and I've obviously been talking with them for the past couple of years now, and so yeah, that all of that together kind of helped create the number 1 spot for me in that sense.
Yeah, Will had a religious experience watching them.
Yeah, it was interesting because... go ahead, George.
No, I was just after that set, he was just oh my God! He was really losing his mind over that.
Yeah, it was weird because it was a little bit of an epiphany, because Chemist made my year-end list, but I think I had him at number 17. And Chemist was always a slow burn for me. It was sort of so you get a personal connection with the band after you interview them and you know them, and how
they're such nice guys.
Yeah, I mean, they're just genuinely like the nicest fucking guys ever. But seeing them live and listening to the album as much as I did and putting it on my year-end list, but then after seeing them live and then now listening to that more, I can see that. I don't know if it would have made number one because I'm completely obsessed with the album, the Eerie album, that I think you guys had at number 35 or something.
It wasn't even on my list.
No, but Decibel had it like at number.
Oh 35. Yeah. You're not talking to me.
No, but it was literally it was an amazing set. Yeah, Albert, I know it's late. You got to wake up early.
Yeah.
Albert, thank you for joining us. It's been a pleasure, and we look forward to next year's Decibel Metal and Beer Fest.
Albert.
Oh, I look forward to it too. Hopefully you guys will be in the house again for that.
We will.
That's the plan.
We were talking about how it's going to be our new Maryland Death Fest, because the last few years we've been about the Maryland Death Fest, and this year they kind of they got rid of the Edison lot, and so it's not as exciting as this was. So this is going to be our new spring fling.
As much as we bitched about the heat and the Edison lot, there's still something we love about the Edison lot. So it's just kind of weird this year that it's completely indoor the whole year.
Yeah,
or the whole
I'm sure MDF will be awesome. I'll be there. Next weekend.
Yep.
I'm sure it'll be great. It'll be a little bit different, and it'll be something different and new and exciting. But I mean, if you guys are already excited about the Metal and Beer Fest for next year, that sounds great by me. And we'll be announcing stuff over the next few months. We'll start dropping some hints, but I won't give up the goods. I would think probably until like October.
Okay. Well, John and I will be at a few of the days at MDF next week, so maybe we'll run into you.
Yeah, I think our table is out in front of Ram's Head somewhere. So come find us.
Well, by the way, George, you could probably buy a copy of Choosing Death at the Maryland Death Fest, which I did last year. So
yeah,
physical.
I literally was going to order it either tonight or in the morning. So
or order it tonight or in the morning, because you'll get there at MDF and then you'll have some weird thing where you'll be bitching about carrying a book or something.
Yeah. All right. Well, like I said, thank you for coming on, and we'll talk to you later.
All right, guys. Thanks.
Thanks a lot, Albert. Thank you.
Enjoy the rest of the podcast, and Will enjoy Disney.
I will.
All right, gentlemen.
All right. Thank you for coming on. We'll talk to you later.
See you on the other side.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thanks.
All right, that was our interview with Albert Mudrian of Decibel Magazine. Now we're going to move on to the news. Our first news item: Hansi from Blind Guardian and John from Iced Earth are working on material for a long-awaited new Demons and Wizards third album. I'm a Blind Guardian fan, and I'm an old Iced Earth fan, but I don't know how much I'm really looking forward to this. I mean, I got both of the first two albums, but I wouldn't say I'm a huge fan. Do either of you guys? I'm guessing Will is probably a no. What about you, John?
I never sought them out. I mean, I like both bands on their own, but I never went after them. I don't know why. It's been so long. I just haven't really cared. It's nothing. I mean, I end up liking it. I don't know. I'll have to wait and see.
Right.
My only comment on this is, if you listen to the Howard Stern show, which I do pretty religiously, Richard Christie, who was the drummer in Iced Earth for years, is now on the Howard Stern show, and we met him he was at the Decibel Magazine Beer Fest, and Howard Stern actually talked about how great of a drummer Richard Christie is, from his time in Death and Iced Earth, and now in his own band, Charred Walls Is a Dam. And they actually played some Iced Earth on the Howard Stern show, and they were playing Graveworm's cover of Bon Jovi "Little Runaway," and there was like a whole 45-minute segment this morning about Richard Christie and his drumming and Death and Iced Earth, and so I don't particularly know anything about Demons and Wizards, but that's all I got to say about that.
All right then. Speaking of things that I don't care about all that much, Danzig has released a new song called Last Ride from his forthcoming new album, Black Laden Crown. And I liked that it was sort of a return to the Lucifuge sound. However, there wasn't really much of a hook. And so it didn't really grab me. I mean, it was certainly better than anything I've heard off the last few albums from him. But I don't know. I mean, if that's the best song on the album, we're going to have a problem.
I mean, I like the song, and then I went back. It's a very bluesy song, which Danzig's known for. I did like it. I didn't quite notice the hook thing because I was just more pleased that I heard a song that actually sounded like Danzig and not some, I don't know, like you said, the last couple albums have not been good, and that cover albums was...
Pretty much anything since John Christ has left has not been good. And I've been saying it for years. Danzig, you need to fucking hunt down John Christ, and whatever you did to piss him off or whatever you guys are fighting about, you need to bury that shit and get that man back, because everything he's on is awesome. Everything he's not on is not awesome.
I never got into him.
Yeah.
So I won't be looking forward to it.
All right. So Iron Maiden is getting ready to release vinyl reissues of the albums released between 1990 and 2015. The first batch is actually going to be releasing just 2 days from now. I have No Prayer for the Dying already, although it's probably like a bootleg Russian copy with a weird cover. So I know I'm at least going to be picking up the studio albums from this reissue, minus the Blaze ones. But there's definitely, No Prayer for the Dying, Fear the Dark, Brave New World.
I'm thinking Brave New World for me might be it from this group of albums. Not that I don't want them, I just don't know if I need them.
Yeah,
I haven't decided yet. Maybe Fear the Dark. We'll see.
Well, not obviously you don't like no vinyl for you, so who cares, right?
No vinyl for you.
No vinyl for you. All right. This next one, Possessed, who have not released a new album since 1986, not a studio album anyway, have signed with Nuclear Blast, and they are working on a new album.
So, is this the original members?
This is the original one member, the singer, and that was going to be my point. Was, I mean, it's cool and all, There are the seven churches and then Beyond the Gates.
The original death metal album,
right? That some people call that the original death metal album.
Because they had a song called, I think, Death Metal on Seven Churches.
Yes. Yeah. Those are definitely classics, and it's funny that Larry Lalonde of Primus was actually one of these was in this band back then. But the fact that it's just the one guy is it still exciting just because it's one guy and a bunch of other guys who weren't in the band back then? I don't know.
I mean, I'm a little excited because it is Possessed. I'm less excited because it's not the original lineup. So when it comes out, I'll take a listen.
Yeah,
and I'll judge it from there, kind of thing.
Yeah. So I mean, if it's awesome, great. That'd be great.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I mean, it's been 30 years, so it's really hard for me to kind of get jazzed up until I actually hear it.
Yeah, exactly. If it comes back like, say, I don't know, a band like Celtic Frost, aka Triptychon, with some kind of power like that, yeah, I'll be all over that.
Yeah, definitely.
And the reason I mention that is because the next item, Celtic Frost are reissuing 4 classic albums on vinyl and CD and a new best of Innocence and Wrath. So you can get Morbid Tales, to Megatherion, into the Pandemonium, and Vanity Nemesis, all on new Pretty Vinyl with apparently some extras. Cold Lake, not so surprisingly, omitted from that.
You know what else is really cool about that is that we'll get Emperor's Return with To Make a Theron. It's included with that.
Is it?
As far as
it's
I know.
not on Morbid Tales?
No, I thought that they said it was going to be part of To Make a Theron, but maybe I'm wrong. That's what I thought.
It's possible. I just know that like Morbid Tales was originally reissued with both, because Morbid Tales was an EP, and so was Emperor's Return.
I have to go back and look at the post that I think I sent it to you, didn't I?
You did.
Yeah, I have to take a look at it again.
Yeah, Jay ran out and like as soon as this was posted, he bought it because he's a huge fan, and I'm a huge fan too. Apparently, not as huge as Jay. And I was like, I kind of it's like $74 for each pair, so like $150 for the 4 albums. And I was like, I mean, I want to get it and all. I mean, I already have all of these on vinyl, but it's new. It's got more stuff, and so I waited a whole day before ordering them. And I was like, yeah, I'll wait. Next day. That was long enough, so I ordered them. So there you go. All right, well, not a lot of news this time. Why don't we move on to our new releases?
This week's new releases, here they are. Spend your hard-earned money now.
First up is a new album from a band called Disbelief, and the album is called The Symbol of Death. These guys are a German death thrash sludge band. And I've heard of them for many years, but I've never listened to them before. I feel like these guys were one of those bands that I would always see in the CD rack at Best Buy back in the day when I would go there and look for music. And I just never took the plunge because it felt like I was going to, waste money. But I listened to this and it's actually pretty good. So,
No, I really liked it, and in fact, I tried to buy it on Bandcamp, and somehow it timed out on me, and I didn't actually get it. But I'm actually surprised you like this, George, because it's little death metal.
I like death metal. I just don't like a lot of this shitty new death metal. I like old school death metal.
I don't think you like death metal.
No, I do. So screw you.
Yeah. I don't think you've ever said a nice word about death metal ever.
It's because there hasn't been a lot of good death metal lately.
No, because you have shitty taste in music.
No, I like good death metal. I like Cannibal Corpse. I've been listening to a really great band from the 90s lately called Unanimated. Have you heard them?
Cannibal Corpse? Yeah, they're great.
No, Unanimated.
Yeah, Cannibal Corpse is great.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so don't tell me that I don't like death metal when you don't even know it. Dick.
Cannibal Corpse is John's favorite band.
I like Cannibal Corpse.
I actually never said I had a problem with Cannibal Corpse.
I like Obituary. Anyway, next up is one that I do know that John likes. It's a band called Farsot. I don't know if that's how it's pronounced. Farsot.
Probably, if they're French, it's probably Farceau.
They're not. They're German.
It's probably, then it's Fartsot.
Farsot. And their third album, Fail Lure. So it's like failure, but not quite. And like I said, this is a German black metal band. It's their third album. And I liked it quite a bit. In fact, it might make a mid-year list or two. And John.
Yeah, I'm digging this big time since you told me about it because it's compared to their first full release to this one, it's got that kind of this new, it's not new, but you see a lot of newer bands doing it, this progressive black metal sound, which I dug big time. So,
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad you turned me on to them.
Why don't you take this next one then, Will?
Well, I just can't get over the fact that John just said you turned me on.
I didn't mean to turn you on.
Fine, well, I'll tell you next time we drink that you're turning me on.
The next one, God to Throne, A World Ablaze. And I was happy and completely blindsided because God to Throne apparently broke up a couple years ago, and then now they put out a new album.
This is their 10th album, and it's their first in 7 years. So 2010 was the last album.
Yeah, so I don't. So I'm a big God the Throne fan, and if you've heard me earlier on the podcast, I do like the heavy metal bands that do the historical sort of thing, like XDO. I mentioned them not so eloquently on one of the podcasts recently about how they talk about the Roman Empire. So the God the Throne has an affinity for, not affinity, that's not the right word, but they have a writing obsession with World War One. You know, being a band from the Netherlands, which saw a lot of the trench warfare and everything in World War One. So, I mean, they're an amazing band. I have to, and I've listened to this album several times. I need to listen to it a couple more times. I don't know if it's quite as good, as I was saying earlier on the podcast, as some of their previous albums, but it's refreshing and it's nice to see them back. And it still sounds like God the Throne. It may not have quite the edge yet, but kind of like the Creator album this year. It was a slow burn for me, and I'm catching on, and I'm liking it more and more every time I listen to it. So I think the God the Throne album for me is like that. It's like the more I listen to it, the more I'm going to like it. But I was just very pleased to see them back.
I just finished a World War I book called A World Undone, which is close. The story of the Great War. And that was very interesting. Just thought I'd put that out there.
Thank you, George.
You know, I was looking for some brownie points with Will, but I'm not getting them, so I'm kind of pissed. That's probably because Will is just like not wanting to get on to this next album.
I'm sorry. No. I just the entire time you were doing that, it just sounded like you were underwater and in slow motion because our Skype connection is not that great. So I didn't actually hear anything you just fucking said.
Okay. So next up is the New Life of Agony album, A Place Where There's No More Pain. This is their 5th album. All I'm going to say is that I haven't really cared for the album or two previous to this one. I thought this one was actually pretty good. The sound is a little bit different. The vocals are a little more Alice in Chains-ish almost, which is not a bad thing. So, you know, I think Life of Agony fans might dig it. Anybody else, you might as well just, move on. Our last new release is the new album from Nocturnal Mortem called, the English translation is Verity. They're a Ukraine band. They play like a folk symphonic black metal. And this is their 7th album, and it's been 8 years since they put out an album, so that seems to be a trend with some of our new releases. God Dethroned, of course, and Disbelief, as a matter of fact, having a lot of time between albums. And this album is pretty cool. I don't know if anybody else has listened to this yet, but I mean, I've known about them before, but I wasn't expecting an album that was this cool. So I'm still getting through it. I've only been through it like once or twice, but I like it.
I haven't checked it out yet, so I can't comment, unfortunately.
Yeah, I definitely did check it out. A couple things that were interesting to me. They're from Ukraine, hopefully not from Eastern Ukraine. If you know what's going on in Eastern Ukraine, they're under the Russians essentially annexed Eastern Ukraine. But what was interesting to me is just exactly what you said, George. Like, the translation from Ukrainian to English is Verity, and I'm sitting there thinking, what the fuck does Verity mean in English?
I don't even know.
Yeah, that's all like, what? So yeah, it was interesting. I checked it out, and I need a couple more listens to decide whether I'm going to buy it or not. But it caught my attention. It was interesting.
Yeah,
I can definitely see how you like this because it has that. It seems like you do like a lot of that, like in the vein of Throssumblot, where
it's got flutes.
The blackish folk metal-ish sort of thing going on. So I could definitely see how you like it, George. And I need to give it a few more spins.
All right.
So to speak.
Why don't we move on to our top 3? which we were hoping to have Albert join us for this, but we already got his top 3. So our top 3 bands from the Decibel Metal and Beer Fest. Why don't we start with John?
All right. I have a feeling we may have a lot of similar bands together on this list, but that's quite all right.
Well, it is a small pool that we're picking from.
Right.
I will predict that 2 of the bands will make all of our lists, including. I don't think. Anyway, the 3 of us.
I can agree with that.
Yeah. I think we'll have crossover. My third selection is a band that I didn't think I'd ever get to see, and I thought they were great live, and I thought their beers were awesome. That's Panopticon.
Yeah.
Yeah. I really enjoyed their set, and I enjoyed their beers even more. So,
all right.
They made those. God bless Hammerheart for making smoky beers. Austin, if you happen for some fucking crazy reason to be listening to this, you're a genius for making all those smoky beers and off-style smoky beers. It's like basically just take whatever beer you want and just make it smoky. I love smoked beer, so
not even that. Will they didn't taste like ashtrays either. There was such a nice balance. It wasn't overpowering, but it was enough there to let you know that it was there. So
yeah, it was. I went up to that booth a couple times.
Yeah,
I spoke with Tanner, who was working the booth there, and I mentioned that in our coverage, but I didn't learn this until later that Tanner is the guy from Obsequia, or however you pronounce that. I'm not sure. There's too many vowels at the end. But that's a great band and a great couple of albums that they've put out. So
yeah, they're cool.
Kudos to him. And sorry, I didn't know that you were associated with that band when we talked. I'm hoping that maybe we can get him on an upcoming episode. So, all right. Will, what's your number 3?
Number 3, Immolation. I've never seen. So I will say that all 3 of my bands that I have on my list are bands that I've never seen before, because that was important. Like, I love seeing Picture Short, love seeing Sleep, but I've seen them before a couple times. So Immolation, old school death metal, been around for a million years out of New York. They put on a great show. I know I'm kind of alone. I know this is not going to make either one of your guys' list, but it made Albert's list. But I love Immolation, and it was great, absolutely great to see them play live for the first time.
Right on. I am with John. Number 3, Panopticon. That was a very interesting set, and I thought it was really cool the way he ended it with the folky kind of song, with clean vocals and everything. I thought that was really beautiful, particularly in a live setting.
Yeah, I thought they by far had the biggest balls of the festival for their set list, the way they constructed it and the kind of mid pieces with the tribal sound, where a lot of people might get a little bored after a couple minutes of that, but it worked really well for them. So,
agreed. All right. Well, what's your number 2 then?
I didn't realize this till you said it, Will, but I hadn't seen any of these bands either that are on my list. So
me neither.
It's kind of funny. But my number 2, which I have a feeling might be on another list, Crypt Sermon. Loved them. Thought they were great.
Excellent. I can't disagree with that.
And I'm not going to say anymore because I'm sure that might come up again.
My number 2, Crypt Sermon.
I don't want to surprise you, but my number 2 is Crypt Sermon. So I think the rest of the list is going to be the same from here on out.
Yeah, I think so. But I will say that I started to learn. I should say I didn't learn about Crypt Sermon late, because they only came out with, I think it was 2015 when Out of the Garden came out. But I remember it was 2016, and John and I were driving up to your house, George, for the year-end episode, and we were playing Crypt Sermon, and I just so it was like a year later, and I just found this band, and I was like, hey, this band's really cool, and I've been mildly obsessed with Crypt Sermon lately. It's probably the album I've listened to the most in the last like 2 months.
Mm-hmm.
It is a just like when we had. I know we had Steve on, and great guy, great interview. You have that personal connection. But even before that, like I really was getting into Crypt Sermon a lot, and how much they sound like Trouble, and how great of a traditional doom that was. Like God, I cannot wait for the next album.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, number 1 then, John.
Well, boy, geez, I wonder who else will pick this band. It's pretty obvious, I think, but Chemist for me absolutely just destroyed the whole festival.
Yeah,
Chemist.
They just killed it. And
are you jumping the gun there, Will?
I'm sorry. Did I say Chemist as well? Yes, I said Chemist as well.
he's like rocking back and forth. He's like autistic, like Chemist. I really like Chemist. I'm a really good driver.
Yeah. And Will,
I only buy my underwear at Kmart.
Hey, Will, I'm more of a slow burn on this band than you are. I've slowly gotten into them more and more as the years gone on since the end year, and the more I listen, the more I like them. So,
but what's weird is like I actually feel bad about it. Like I feel like, why didn't I get it from the start? Why did it take me so long? Like, what the fuck is wrong with me? I don't know if you feel like that, but I just like.
Yeah, I don't know what's wrong with you guys, man. That first album came out, Absolution. I was like, oh.
Where was it on your list last year, George?
It was not as high as maybe it should have been.
Where was it?
I don't know. I'd have to look. I would guess like 12, something like that. But
yeah,
was it on your list last year, John?
No, it did not make mine because I just didn't listen to it enough. There's just too much stuff last year, and it's just one of the ones that fell through the cracks for me.
Yeah, and that's one. Like I had it on my list. It was number 17, but like I now that I listen to it more, easily could have been top. I would say top 6 or 7. But I mean, it was anyway.
Yeah. In case it isn't obvious, my number 1 is also Chemist.
George, they were your number 18.
Oh, 18.
2016.
Yeah, 18, 12, somewhere around there.
Yeah. Just bumping them up to make yourself look good to the guys.
Yeah, well, it's because I wasn't really on a doom kick last year. I was very into the first album. I loved it. And when the second album came out, I was very excited to hear it. And I liked it. But I just wasn't in a doom spot come list time. And it's like I got it on there because I knew it needed to be there. But
I mean, we get it. It wasn't folky black metal, so it wasn't gonna make your.
It wasn't Frostblatt, man.
Which I'm obsessed with that album too, and I'm kicking myself for that not even being on my list. I mean, probably one of my biggest oversights ever on this podcast.
Well, at least you can admit it.
Oh yeah, no, that's an amazing album.
Yeah, and speaking of Chemists, if you haven't picked up their split with Spirit Adrift, is that what it was?
Yeah, it's still in pre-order, I think. On Bandcamp.
Yeah, but their song is available, and oh my God, is it awesome! It's a cover of like an old blues standard, but man, is it good! It is so good.
Yeah.
And I'm looking forward to Empty Throne, which I believe is the next flexi disc.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, from Decibel, in case you're wondering. So yeah, all right. So we've decided that we're sort of going to combine a couple of sections to make things move a little smoother moving forward. So instead of what we're listening to and vinyl purchases and personal recommendations, we're just going to give one list, what we're listening to, that includes what we've been listening to and what we've bought and anything we want to recommend. So, ta-da! There you go. And we'll start with John.
All right. So I've I'm not including everything because I've bought so much stuff recently, but I highlighted the ones I thought stood out the most. And one was already mentioned was the Far Side Failure, whatever you want to say it. Really, for me, I like it. Good progressive black metal from Germany. You guys have probably heard this name before, but maybe don't know much about them. A band called Arian, and it's an album called The Source. And I got the mega digibook thing with like 4 CDs and a DVD. It's kind of rock opera, prog rock, prog metal kind of stuff. He's been around for a long time, the main guy in the band. Another one I just picked up, I guess, Friday, from, I think they're from Romania. It's a band called The 13th Sun, an album called Stardust. Which
I like that.
Yeah, it's just kind of, it's prog metal, but it's not traditional prog metal. It's not the wankery stuff, if you don't like that. I think it's pretty good stuff. An album that hasn't come out officially, but we were fortunate to get a copy of the album, and it should be coming out, I think, 2 weeks, and that's the Flourishing Scourge's first full release. Mm-hmm. I've been listening to that a lot, and I like that album a lot. I could see that maybe climbing on the list.
Yes. And it'll be out by mid-year, right? I believe it will.
So, yes. I think it will. The next two, I was at both of these shows. From these two releases. One is the Fates Warning Awaken the Guardian Live. I got like some huge package box that came in the mail, 4 CDs, a DVD, Blu-ray, vinyl.
John, you have a huge package.
You're being kind. Anyway, George and I, we saw this show in Atlanta, and this is just the works, this whole thing.
We are in the package.
Yes, literally. You can see us sitting in the package.
I'm sitting there with my arms folded.
George, you have a huge box.
I'd rather have a big package.
Oh, don't get sand in your box. Okay, real quick, let me finish these off. The next, Jay would actually like hearing this, is Vandenplas, the Sephiric Live Works, which was a show they did at Prog Power back in 2011, and they finally released the CD and DVD to that, so I got that. The new November's Doom I just picked up. I can't even pronounce the word. Hamartia, I think it is. It's pretty good.
I think that's pretty close.
Yeah, it's not one of their better ones, but it's good. I like it. And then these next two I finally got on vinyl, which was the Black Anvil As Was and the first 2 Aranci Pazuzu albums, which I cannot pronounce. Actually, it's the first album and first EP.
We need Yanni.
Yeah, he'll have to come on and pronounce them for us at some point. And that's it for me.
All right. Will?
It's been a while since we've been on the air, so I have a somewhat long list, but I'll go through it quick in no particular order. Excommunion, Thronosis, which I think Rick, one of the guys who listens and always gives us great recommendations on Twitter. And what I like about Rick is he actually tailors his recommendations to like individual members of the podcast. So great old school death metal. I like it. The Midnight Ghost Train. These guys hit me up and they want to play Atlas Brewworks. And so I took a listen to them and wow, they're really good. Was not aware of them before this. They have a new album, or not a new album, it's an album from last year called Cold Was the Ground. It's kind of, it's like a stoner doom with some harsh vocals. Kind of like a hard rock, I think hard rock country bumpkin bluegrass with harsh vocals and stuff. I don't know. It's hard to explain, but I really like it. The Midnight Ghost Train. Check them out. Got the Razumov, this Mortal Road, good doom metal band.
I like that one.
Yeah, I'm digging that one. We mentioned this earlier, Lost Horizonless. I pre-ordered that. A band that I know, never knew about this album ever until Decibel came out. Cover Story, Soundgarden. Apparently they had an album called Ultra Omega OK. And so I checked it out. Yeah, I never even heard of this album, and I don't know if it comes before Bad Motorfinger.
It does before.
Okay, so I had Bad Motorfinger, which when I in the 90s grunge area, I thought like, well, this is, it's not usually my top cup of tea, but it got some good songs on it. So I picked up the Soundgarden Ultra Mega OK, which is kind of like a grungier, not grungier. It's a bad term for it's a grittier version of Bad Motorfinger. I picked up Extremely Fucking Dead, which is a death metal band doing some old school stuff I really like. Picked up Blood Feast, The Future State of Wicked, which I have to say I'm a little disappointed with this. Blood Feast is a band out of the Philly area. They opened up the Decibel tour in Philly, but they didn't announce that they were going on before the actual show started, so I missed them, even though I had plenty of time to see them. I think it's like a different lead singer or something. It's just not quite the old school thrash East Coast thrash that I liked. God to Throne and World Ablaze, picked that up, which we've already talked about. Picked up Hideous Divinity, their album Aventinius, really liking that. Jay recommended this to me, a band called Vampire, and their album With Primeval Force.
That's a good one too. Kind of Celtic Frosty.
Yeah. Then picked up, I think this is a band from somewhere in Europe, I think Poland, maybe. Altar of
Betelgeuse.
And their album Among the Ruins. Oh yeah, I guess it's Beetlejuice. Beetlejuice. It's kind of like this crazy mix of stoner. Like Inhumation came out with a new EP. The guys out of your neck of the woods, George, in Maryland. Onto Genosis is the name of the album. It's slightly different than the previous stuff. I just think that the production's either a little bit more stepped up. It sounds a little more kind of just better production. I did pick up the new November's Doom, Hamartia. I don't have a huge history with November's Doom. When they're doing the harsh vocals, I love it. When they do the clean vocals, sometimes I like it.
There's a question mark on there, and I think Jay would want me to put it out there.
Like sometimes, yeah, exactly. Jay with his question mark. It just I think sometimes they're injected when they aren't needed, and I think Paradise Lost does a little bit better job of mixing in harsh and clean when they're needed. And I'm talking about Paradise Lost, like the first couple albums and like the last album. My 2 cents. And then the last thing is Azeroth and their album In Extremis. Pick that up.
Excellent. Thank you, sir.
That's all I got to say about that.
All right. I could have a really long list, but I have narrowed it down. So I'm going to give you some of the digital stuff, and then I'm going to give you the vinyl. First up, band called Cold Fells, and their self-titled album. Looks like they're from Ohio. This is actually two of the guys from Nechachwen, so it's a side project kind of thing. And then there's another guy.
God bless you.
Exactly. And it's kind of progressive. Not all about progressive. It's doomy and blackish doom. Let's go with blackish doom. Harsh vocals, clean vocals, kind of slow. It's good. Next up, also from Rick, one that he recommended, I think it was yesterday, and I picked it up right away, called Funeralium and of Throes and Blight. And they got some seriously long fucking songs. I think the longest one is, there's only 4 songs. One of them is like 20 something, and one of them is 32 minutes, and it's freaking long, and it's like, it's Death Doom maybe? I don't know. Something along those lines.
On Twitter. I just didn't have a chance to check it out yet.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Another Death Doom album, a band called Lying Figures, and the album The Abstract Escape. It's their first album. They're a French band. Death Doom. I'm liking it a lot. You should check it out. Next up, The Monolith Death Cult and Versus One. This is a band from the Netherlands, and this is their 6th album. Kind of reminded me a mix of Ministry and Annalnath Rock. Like a really fucking heavy industrial kind of thing. Next up, Shores of Null, an Italian melodic doom band, and their second album, Black Drapes for Tomorrow. I really dug their first album, Quintessence, I believe it was called. It's kind of like if Alice in Chains did a doom album. Next up, Sons of Sorath, and that's S-U-N-S. Flowers of the Lily. This is the first album from a progressive black band featuring Evan Knight of Pile of Priests, which is why I listened to it and picked it up. It's good. You should listen to it.
I love me some Pile of Priests.
I love me Pile of Priests. And then I've got a bunch of vinyl. When we were in Philadelphia, we went by Vinyl Altar, and I picked up some of these, but not all of these. Black Anvil, As Was. I picked that up there.
Good choice.
I completed my Bolt Thrower collection with Realm of Chaos. As John mentioned, I also picked up the Fates Warning, Awaken the Guardian Live. Also from Vinyl Altar, I picked up the band Funeral and their album Tragedies. And also their Inter Arma and Paradise Gallows. I picked up 2 albums from Mord a Stigmata. Their latest album, Hope, which you should really, 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 really pick up. Also a previous album called Ansia. From Vinyl Altar, I picked up the Mirkur Mausoleum vinyl. And finally, I also have picked up the new album from Paul Bearer, Heartless.
What do you think about the new Paul Bearer?
I like it. I mean, I get that it's... I mean, I still think it's metal. I can't see not calling it metal. But I get that it's different. So, I don't know.
Yeah, it is like probably, as we say sometimes, a lazy comparison, but I feel as though the new Paul Bearer is kind of in the vein of Mastodon's last couple albums, where there's some riffs in there and maybe a song in there that harkens back to the way they like their last album, that was just a little harder, but a lot of it's way more progressive now. And I definitely don't dislike it. I listen to it a lot, trying to get it. I'm trying to understand the transition.
Yeah, it's not that hard for me to like.
I just love the last album so much, and it's just sort of like,
Well,
I'm grasping.
If that's the case, it's going to be like anything Gojira puts out after, from Mars to Sirius, or anything Mastodon puts on after Leviathan. It's never going to compare. So I actually like the new Paul Bearer. I should probably go back and revisit it again to see how I feel now about it. But I liked it on the X number of listens I gave when it came out.
Yeah. All right. We are just about at the end here. If you've made it this far, I want to apologize for the frequent and annoying fucking problems we've been having with audio today. This was almost the episode that did not happen because of technical difficulties we've been having. We've plowed through regardless, and I can guarantee you that tomorrow I'm going to take all of this fucking equipment and replace it so that hopefully next time we have a better sound.
If you're a listener and you're super annoyed at this episode for all the audio difficulties, blame me, because I'm the one who's like, let's go. We got to do it. Mission accomplishment. We got to go.
Yeah, I was all like, we're not doing it. God damn it. And
so blame me. I will take full blame.
Yeah, well, I mean, despite that, I think it was a good and fun episode, and it was great talking to Albert. But yes, believe me, if you're annoyed by this, the static and other bullshit that's been going on, know that I, too, am completely annoyed by it. And I am going to be taking steps tomorrow to figure out what the fuck is going on and remedy this.
I'm telling you, man, you just had to pay the North Koreans that ransom. You could have fixed all this.
Yeah. But before we go, I want to announce that Jay has had a brilliant idea. not his first, but I'm not announcing it as such. But he came up with an idea for a new segment, and we're going to start with that on our next episode. It's at this point tentatively titled Skull Crusher, and what it's going to be is a little game that we're going to play between the four of us. So one person per episode will be the victim per se, who the other three people will. Okay, so the victim gets to pick a topic or a band that they would like the other three people to ask them questions about. So the other three people are going to go off and come up with something to try and ask this person that they won't be able to answer.
Try and crush their skull.
Yes. And so basically each episode, one person will have to answer 3 questions from the other 3 and hope that they can get them right. And if they do, then we will heap them with praise, and if not, we will bury them in derision.
Answer these questions 3.
Exactly. And so since it was Jay's idea, Jay will be the first victim starting with the next episode. So look forward to that next time. And until then, make sure to check us out on SoundCloud. We are on
Wait. Stop. Hold the press. I got a big announcement.
Do you?
I mean, it's not that I'm going to Disney World next week. It's actually.
But you are.
I am, yeah. Our buddies in Utkiaru
Oh,
are
right.
going on. Yeah, big news! So the 3-piece black and melodic death band Utkiaru, who has been a guest on the podcast, who we are friends with now, based out of Wisconsin, are doing a East Coast North American tour. Not quite East Coast, but eastern half, I guess you could say, of North America.
They're not going to Jay's Hood.
No. But my brewery, Atlas, is sponsoring the tour. We have sent them plenty of merch and beer to fuel the tour, and they will be playing at Atlas Brew Works in August 15th. I think it's a Tuesday night.
It is. So I am scheduling my European Wacken tour such that I will be back right before this. I will be back the Sunday, and then I have Monday to get unjet lagged, and Tuesday, Utkiaru time.
Yeah, so, but not to play second fiddle is local DC Dagger Moon will be in direct support, and our good friends and Helgamite out of Rileysville / Luray, Virginia, out in the Shenandoah Valley, with their eclectic Appalachian stoner doom metal. They'll also be playing. So what I love about this show that we're going to have at Atlas is that it's all genre bending metal. I mean, Dagger Moon's like a crusty doom band. Utkiaru is a black and melodic death band, and then you got Helgamite, which is the self-described jazz infused Appalachian stoner doom. So I'm so looking forward to this show, but it's gonna be awesome. It's gonna be huge.
It's gonna be huge.
Bad, so sad.
I'll be there.
Me too. I already bought my ticket. All right, so now, if you're not too turned off by all the fucking static, make sure to check us out on SoundCloud. We're on Facebook. We're on Twitter, Instagram, Stitcher, and wearemetalheads.com. And you can also look...
Disciple OV Metal, right?
Yes, I am Disciple OV Metal. We're also at Metalheads Pod. John is...
Mike Lester 69.
And Will is...
At Brew Metal Will.
And Jay is Catatonic Jay. And we're also on, look us up on Bandcamp if you want to know what we're listening to or what we're picking up. I think Metalheads George, I think, is my name on there.
Yeah, I'm Brew Metal Will for all facets of my life.
And I'm still Mike Cluster 69.
69.
Is that a ministry reference?
That's a ministry thing. Psalm 69, yeah.
Yeah. But huge thanks to Albert.
Oh yeah, definitely enjoyed talking with him.
Yeah, thanks so much. I just every time I see Albert, I guess I personally met him 3 times now, but it's always just a great conversation about music. So it's awesome. So it was a huge pleasure to have him on.
Yes, and hopefully John and I will see him next week.
Oh, definitely. We'll stop by and see him.
Yeah. All right. Until next time, we remain the Metalheads Podcast. So we're not quite done with the episode yet. We've got a few more things we want to talk about, John and I anyway. First of all, apparently during the middle of our taping of the episode last night, Chris Cornell of Soundgarden died.
Yeah.
We woke up this morning and he was gone, which was just bizarre.
Yeah, it really was.
And I woke up, looked at my phone, and John was like, Chris Cornell, what the fuck?
Yeah, exactly. I just, this, I mean, they're always, I wouldn't say they're always unexpected, but this one definitely, I think, was probably more unexpected than most. I mean, he just played a show last night.
Yeah.
I guess in Detroit.
In Detroit. So. I know Detroit's not exactly a great place to be, but come on.
Yeah.
And so it's been kind of a surreal day, and the details have been emerging throughout the day. Said that he died suddenly, so I assumed it was like a heart attack or something. Friend of mine texted me this morning and said, "You hear something about a suicide?" And I was like, "Nah, come on. That would be ridiculous. He's in the middle of a tour, and he's Chris Cornell. Come on." But that seems to be what they're ruling it now. There's been talk about whether it was on purpose or accidental, whether it was possibly some sort of autoerotic asphyxiation kind of thing. I guess we won't know that until maybe more details.
Yeah, I would think that, and no one's doing this, or at least a lot of people aren't doing this, but I would think that we should probably wait to find out first before, I mean, in every case like this, we should probably just wait to see what the results of the investigation are, only because I was reading some friends online when the suicide thing came up, and they were just like, man, what the fuck? I'll be really pissed off if that's the case. Like, oh, so if he died from drugs, that would have been cool then or something, or you wouldn't be as upset? I don't get all that stuff. I mean, it's irrelevant, I guess, in the long run. It's the short term that people want an answer for. You know, in the end, you know, Rock lost a guy that a lot of people liked. I mean, a lot of people really liked his singing and his the bands he participated in. So,
yeah, it's tragic either way. I mean, I can understand people being mad at him if it was suicide. You know, if somebody dies naturally, it's certainly more tragic than if somebody did it on purpose.
I understand that, and I don't condone suicide or hate people for. I mean, I don't understand how somebody would get there. So that's not me copping out. I mean, I don't think any of us understand it if that's what happened, unless you're in that person's shoes. So come on, I mean, the same thing. Remember Robin Williams? People thought, well, why would he do that?
Yeah.
We don't know what's going on in their private lives. You know, and so I would prefer to wait and see. I mean, I've gotten text messages too from friends and everything, and people just want to know because they liked him so much is what I'm taking from it.
Yeah. Well, it's tragic. I know I've been listening to Soundgarden all day.
I didn't. I was never a big fan. I mean, it's no disrespect to them. I just wasn't a super fan. I mean, I like some stuff by them, but
it was kind of weird because Will was literally just talking about Ultra Mega OK last night.
And well, yeah, you know, it's interesting when we were up in Philadelphia and we saw Adam up there. You know, the author to the Brutal Truth Guide to Extreme Beers. We've never brought that book up before, ever, anywhere. I asked him about that because, you know, he wrote the Hall of Fame piece in Decibel about that. And I said, you know, you must be excited that you got that. That's a nice grab for the magazine." And he was pretty psyched about it. And I was waiting to see what he would post it, because I could be wrong, but as I understood, he was a big fan of them, at least early on. So
Yeah.
it just seems like we know a few people that recently that either like Will getting into them, or somebody who knows them, or somebody interviewed them. So
Yeah.
small world despite being big.
All right. Well, that wasn't actually why we decided to record this piece. It just kind of happened to be that we couldn't ignore talking about that. But John, why don't you go into why we're actually here now?
Yeah, so I guess it's now a couple weeks. It was a couple weeks after Decibel Fest. I went back up to Philadelphia to go see what originally was supposed to be just Opeth and Gojira. And then it became Opeth, Gojira, and Devin Townsend project. And then apparently Mastodon's tour was colliding at the same time in Philadelphia, kind of like Planet X hitting Earth. And they ended up making this kind of mini one-day festival up there with the two tours. Mastodon's tours with Eagles of Death Metal and Russian Circles. So it turned out to be a long day. I drove up, went straight to the venue. I didn't do anything beforehand, went straight to the venue. And literally got in just as Russian Circles was getting ready to start. I think I found a space and they kicked in within like 5 minutes, maybe 10 max. I waited, which was kind of nice. And it started around 3:30, I think. And it was cold and windy, but it wasn't bad at that point.
It was supposed to be raining, so I guess you lucked out there.
Yeah, so I had the whole, rain slicker on that slightly could breathe, as opposed to the poncho that makes you sweat your balls off. The $5 poncho. I didn't wear that this time. And so it was windy, but it wasn't too bad. The sun was out, and Russian Circles came out. They played 4 songs, and they were heavy as hell. They were not loud, but heavy. And I guess it was loud for people who didn't have earplugs, but man, they put on a great show. I've seen them a few times. I've seen them for each of the last 3 album tour cycles, and very cool, very atmospheric for them. But they amped it up a little bit to not to compete, but to kind of blend in better with the rest of the bands, I thought, which they're already a heavy band live. I mean, they're not that they're not heavy. They already are, but they added a little more oomph to their sound, which I enjoyed even more. They played, I guess, about 25 minutes, which was cool. And then there wasn't much of a break in between each band. Then they rolled Devin Townsend out, and he played 5 songs, and it was good. And it's all stuff I've seen before. As a matter of fact, I think it was every song we saw when he played down in Atlanta at Prague Power.
Okay.
So nothing new there. All Devin Townsend project stuff. There was nothing from any of the earlier albums. He does do Kingdom, it seems like at every show now, which is from Physicist, which is from early 2000s, but he re-recorded it with the Devin Townsend project. And it's really funny because this came up, watching him. He's got his logo, the DTP that he has. It looks like infinity. And the subject of Deep Purple's new album cover came up, and we were having a good laugh about that. It's like, wait a second now. Who stole from who here? And I remembered that I read an interview with Devin Townsend. He said, hey, if Deep Purple, if it looks sort of like ours, who am I to complain? Which I thought was really funny. So at that point, he played for a little over about a half an hour again. And Eagles of Death Metal came up. So I bolted. I didn't want to see them. I have no interest in them. I'm not a fan. I know people like them. Just not my thing.
Yeah,
I'm not a stoner rock kind of desert rock guy at all. So do you like them at all?
No.
Yeah.
I'm like, if you got death metal in your name, you got to at least be playing metal, and it's just not.
Yeah, or there better be some kind of a humorous side to that, that we can all appreciate.
Yeah.
And it's just, them up there playing their wherever they're from in Southern California. I don't know where they're from, but what band are they the Ashes from? Queens of Stone Age? Yeah,
and like Caius maybe?
Yeah, that's what I thought. The one guy was in Caius too. So so I went out and I walked around. If it was at the show was in, if I didn't mention, it's in Philadelphia at the Electric Factory, and the Electric Factory is a big indoor venue that is standing room only with some seats upstairs at the bar area, and it holds about 3,000 plus. I've seen a ton of shows there over the years. But they held this out not in the parking lot area. That's where all the food and the merch was located, and that's where you went into the venue. This was held behind the venue. No point in explaining it, just giving you a slight visual. And it was a huge space. If you look at any pictures that were posted by any of the bands, you'll see. And it was from fence to fence, from stage to building, completely solid people.
Wow.
I mean, it was a lot of people there. And it was kind of cool, but it was on pavement, so my back was starting to get a little antsy. I had to move around a little bit.
Yeah.
So then the next band from there was Gojira after Eagles of Death Metal. And the funny thing is, back to Eagles of Death Metal, the best song they played was a cover by David Bowie. It was Moonage Daydream.
Wow.
And I was just like, okay, so your best song is not one of your songs, but it's actually by I'm a big David Bowie fan, so I was thinking it's by someone I like a lot. I don't like the rest of your set. So, nothing personal, just wasn't my thing. So then Gojira came out, and they were awesome, as usual. They played a shorter set than they're playing on tour right now, same as Devin Townsend. They played like maybe 8 or 9 songs. A lot of stuff from the new album, but they are doing a lot per, from Mars to Sirius album, which they've been doing for a while. And then a couple songs here and there from the rest of their catalog. And they were great, a lot of energy. People were really into them. Pit was going pretty well. So I liked them, of course. And it was followed up by Opeth, who? I originally... Opeth.
Who? I've heard of them.
Yeah. Who I had originally was planning, the reason for the trip was them and Gojira. And they also played a shortened set. They played 8 songs instead of the 9 or 10 that they're playing as a headlined. They did a short headline tour, Gojira and Devin Townsend. And it was all the same songs they've played from the last time I saw them. They added one new song. They added Era to the set list, and they were great. Friends had said they thought Mike sounded really good, both clean and harsh vocals. I thought his clean vocals were outstanding, and I thought his harsh were a little better than they have been. His harsher vocals seemed to be better than they have been in the last couple of years.
Nice.
Band sounded great, but it was getting cold at this point. As we were getting close to dusk, and at one point Mike had made a comment. He's like, we're from Sweden and all, but it's fucking cold out here. and it was getting cold, and it was windy. That was part of the problem. The one thing, it was cold with no wind. But anyway, they played for over an hour, and then Mastodon came out, and I got the feeling that there were a lot of people there to see them, not just to see the other bands and Mastodon, but that a lot of people came just to see Mastodon. And they played their full set. They got like 20 songs. And I got to tell you, I'm not a super Mastodon fan of the last 3 albums. I watched them for about 8 songs before I decided my back had enough, and I left. And I knew what I was walking out on. I knew that they were going to play some older songs off of Blood Mountain. I knew they were going to play a few songs off Remission, and my back was not holding up well at all. It was killing me. But they sounded great. They had a big, huge stage thing going on. But I couldn't help thinking the whole time, this was originally Opeth's show. This was their gig.
Yeah.
With Gojira. And Opeth, Gojira, and Devin Townsend all had shortened sets. And I think Eagles of Death Metal played 1, maybe 2 fewer songs in their set. And everything else was the same for Mastodon and Russian Circles. And, somebody said to me, well, they are probably a bigger band than Opeth right now. Maybe that's true. Maybe they currently are. I don't know. But still, it just seemed kind of
douchey.
Yeah, I mean, they got to play for roughly an hour and 45 minutes. And Opeth got an hour and 5 or hour and 10. I'm thinking that's kind of bullshit.
Yeah.
Now people might think I'm nuts and say that Mastodon would be better to see. Maybe that's true. I don't know.
But you bought the tickets with the expectation of a headline Opeth set.
Yes, and I actually thought that Opeth and Gojira were going to split the time, which I was fine with too. Some people don't like that, but I figured, if they both get like an hour and 15, maybe hour and 20 minutes, I'm fine with that. That's basically 2 headlines as far as I'm concerned.
Right.
But every band from the Opeth tour had shortened sets, and not the same for Mastodon. So take from it what you want. I would have liked to have heard the other 2 songs Opeth were playing on the tour, because I believe one of them was Heir Apparent, which I haven't seen in a while, and In My Time of Need, which I'm ready to swap that out with something else off of Damnation if they're going to do a song off Damnation. So, but overall it was good. For the most part, everything ran really well. I did not eat there because the lines were too long, and I didn't particularly care for the food. Was fine. I just didn't want to eat the cheesesteak, and then halfway through the middle, Gojira hear that in my stomach, and I'm like, oh no, I'm at a venue.
Oh no. I know that feeling well.
I'm no George Costanza. I don't have every bathroom in the city, memorized and where to go. So
there's an app for that.
Yeah, I know. So, but all in all, it was good. I enjoyed it. The cold didn't bother me as much as I thought it might, because I had that, rain slicker on. It kept me pretty warm, actually, for most of the time, because I guess it kept all the heat in. But the sound was fine. The venue, I thought they did a decent job. The merch lines, I've never seen them like that before for anything. It must have been about 50 people in each line. There were 4 or 5 lines, 50 people in each line solid.
Wow.
And I was like, I'm not standing in this shit. So when I actually left a little early, I was able to go buy a shirt because I was the only person in line.
That's how you do it sometimes.
Yeah, but it was cool. It's an Opeth tour, so I'm going to go. That's just what I do.
That's what you do.
Yeah, and it was cool. It was cool to see Gojira again too. And I've seen Devin Townsend a lot also, not as much as Opeth, but a lot. And so it was. I was probably anticipating Gojira more because I haven't seen him as much, and they put on a good show. And I got pictures, but they all sucked. My location was not great, and Will was like, "Oh, you got to get some pictures to post," and they didn't come out great. So I didn't want to. There's nothing worse than putting up blurry pictures. Hey, look at this picture, and then you're looking at the face of the musician, and it's all blurred, and it's like, no, that looks great.
Yeah, so. I frequently take pictures at the show and post them right away. I'm like, it looks good on my phone. And then you get home and you see what you posted, and you're like, oh, well, that really sucked.
Now, I was closer for most of the bands than we were at Amon Amarth. And I don't know about you, but my pictures from Amon Amarth came out great in the back of the Fillmore.
Yeah.
I just think that they had the backdrop with the Vikings, and they had the colors. And it just seemed like colors lit up the stage a certain way. And everything came out great from that show.
Yeah.
But this one, I just couldn't, even with the light out, with solid light, not having to worry about a flash, I still just couldn't get anything great. So.
Yeah.
That's it.
All right.
I went there, and that's my big report.
And then you drove back in the morning, or?
Yeah, I came back early in the morning. I think I was on the road, and I think I was home by, I want to say before 10. Yeah. Maybe 10. Between somewhere like 9:45 and 10:15, I got home. I couldn't remember. I just got up. I couldn't sleep, and I just got up and left.
No cars flipped over on 95?
No, not like. Are you referring to Annapolis yesterday?
No, I was referring to our trip to Philly for Decibel.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. No, actually, the drive up was great. Had no issues. Hey, look, we're talking driving, no complaints, and the drive down was fine because I left early enough.
Cool.
So, I thought you were referring to what happened in it. I know someone got caught up in that accident.
Is it talking about 50?
In Annapolis. Yeah.
Yeah, I heard about that.
Where it was shut down for like 7 hours or something like that, or 6 hours.
Shoo. Yeah. I heard there was something in New York today, too. My wife told me that. I haven't looked it up yet.
No, it doesn't.
Screeching tires and screams of panic. Car barrels into pedestrians in New York's Times Square. Fucking lovely.
Wow.
All right.
It's unreal. It just never seems like it's going to stop.
There's a picture of a burning car, and I was possibly going to New York tomorrow. Glad I'm not.
It's, 1 dead and 22 hurt after a car hits crowd in Times Square.
Crazy.
Yeah, it is. It really is.
Hell in the handbasket. Let's all go.
Yeah, that's kind of like why I don't like going to Times Square in New York. Not a fan at all.
Yeah.
I don't mind going to other parts of the city, but I really don't like Times Square at all.
No.
So.
All right.
Me.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think we will now actually, for really reals, end this episode. And
yeah. Well, thanks for talking about it with me, and wish we had better news other than Chris Cornell.
Yeah, to be sure. And sorry we were a little long between episodes, and it might be a little while before the next episode. We're doing some modifications to the site and the podcast, and so we're on
and maybe some of the equipment.
Yeah, definitely. I'm still having issues with I swapped out the mixer for a different one today and thought it was working better, but no, we still have static. So still have to pinpoint that. So yeah, we got to get some new equipment, and we're changing up some of the segments, and some of the hopefully a new website and things like that. So. But we shouldn't be too long. Just if you're wondering, we'll be back soon. So,
yeah, and keep it on the horizon. It's the middle of May. You know what that means?
Yep. And we'll probably have something from Death Fest too. But yes, the mid-year. We'll definitely be back for the mid-year in June. So, if we're not back before then,
yeah, we will actually probably have plenty to talk about on the mid-year.
Yeah,
if that's the one we do it on. You know?
But we'll probably have some coverage from Death Fest as well. We're only going to a couple of days, but and it's just John and I. So, but we'll record some stuff while we're there. So I may just post that separate.
Yeah, just be prepared to hear plenty of gushing talk over Aranzi Pazuzu from me.
Definitely, and about how awesome it is to be crammed into Ram's Head.
Yeah, I'll also be sweating your balls off and, not being able to move, and Aranzi Pazuzu.
Yeah. All right. This is George and John. We're signing off. We'll talk to you next time.
Later.
George, just turn it off. Turn it off. That's the end of the show. People aren't even listening. They are listening, apparently. Seriously. Fuck you. Good night.